All right, everybody, we got Mr. Joseph Salazar here with us today. And a little bit about him, if you don't know. Yes, he is a graduate of Salesian High School. Yes, Salesian High School. He played for their football team. He was the running back, 3-year varsity, 2-year captain, and he still holds the records. I mean, our school, Sacred Heart High School, we know some guys at Salesian. They come around sometimes, and whenever they see Mr. Salazar, they're like, oh my goodness, that's like the record-holding running back. And we're like, yeah, that's the dude. He went on to New Mexico Highlands for his undergrad, where he played college football as a fullback. And then he sought his master's degree at Mount St. Mary's. And then now he's working on his doctorate at Grand Canyon University. It is his 5th year at Sacred Heart High School. He is a social studies teacher. He is the current varsity soccer coach and the Comets Crazy moderator. If you don't know about the Comets Crazies, I mean, we make it on local news TV. He gets the radio stations to come out and do stuff. I mean, if you're wondering who's the Comets Crazies leader, this is the dude right here. And then a couple other things are he actually played rugby in college after football, and he loves meeting because he knows a lot of celebrities and sports figures. So ask him about it whenever you get a chance to, because that's pretty interesting. So, Mr. Salazar, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me. This is cool, man. This is a cool little thing you got going on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, okay. So first of all, you've been here for 5 years at Sacred Heart High School, and like you've been coaching for how many years? Sports? How many years now? Like if you just go back to how many years of coaching you've been.
Well, I did 2 with basketball, and then I helped Kim in with a little bit of softball. And now this is my 2nd year going to be the soccer head coach. So I'm excited. I think sports it translates to life. So I definitely love sports. I think, our girls could get a lot out of it, a lot of life lessons. So, yeah, man, I'm happy to be coaching.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, you've coached and you've coached football too, for the boys. And I mean, there's just so many different sports that you've coached that you've been able to impact different lives on that kind of level. Uh, why do you choose to coach?
Well, I think when it comes down to it, like I said, it translates to life. So if I can help the kids better their life and really help them make choices in life through sports, that's something I would love to do. I think growing up, I was in youth and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, I felt like, I wish I would have had somebody kind of on my shoulder helping me out with decisions I was making, and not saying I made bad decisions, but mainly getting to the next level and stuff like that. It takes a lot of mentoring and having somebody there for you is big. Um, I also did the youth program here in Lincoln Heights. I was president of the youth organization where they had a football program, or they still do. And then I also coached at Torres. So I'm always involved with the youth because I feel like it's my calling and it's something I love to do.
Yeah, I mean that's what I really get from you is that you are someone who loves sports and wants to help out the youth in you know building on their skills and also like helping them through life. And I really just see that as the kind of person you are, and that's just really cool. Um, Speaking about your experience a little bit, like what was your experience like in high school? Your sports experience, like you said like maybe you didn't have people on your shoulder to lean on. Like what was that like for you?
Well, I think throughout sports, like I I felt like I was able to relate to the different games, either playing football, running track, or even baseball when I was younger. Um, I think when I got to high school, I learned just key values to life, and to me, I feel like learning those lessons in life and sports, it was amazing.
Yeah. What were some of those lessons that kind of stick with you?
I think when it comes to leadership or showing up to practice, I always talk about it with the soccer girls, and I always say it's the little things that we do. Showing up to practice on time. And when you look at work schedule, you work at life. We can't show up late to work, or we can't show up late to an appointment or an interview. And I feel like that was early. Like show up, be on time. Um, if it's important, if it's important to you enough, you'll make it on time. If it's important for you enough, you'll be there when it matters, right? So I feel like that translates to my sports experience, and I learned from that.
Now, were you someone that was always on time from the get go? Because I mean, I can think of like my first practices and like my mentality. So when you go back to your first practice, were you someone that was like, "Oh, I got to be on time," or was that something that you eventually had to learn because people were like, "No, you got to be on time"?
That's a good question. I think when I look back at it, my dad was my biggest influence when it came to being on time and showing up. I think that's one of the main things I always preach is show up. That is showing up, right? And then the other 10% is your effort and everything else. But my dad was big on that. He was huge. Like I remember he would get upset when we would miss school or whatever because we were sick. Like my dad would be upset. Like, no, you're going to school. You're going to class because you need, sick or not, you're going to class. So that was huge for me growing up, and I think it was top on my dad, but for me, it was he would always say, "Be the first one there and the last one to leave." And I think that's something I still practice to this day. I feel like it's kind of been with me. I try to be the first one there and the last one to leave. And I tell my son that all the time too. Like you gotta be the first one there, last one to leave. I don't know, just a little something to help me get there and be on time in life.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, the first one to get there, last one to leave. Um, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one to keep hold to. And when you say show up, I think of the NBA analyst that the former coach of the New York Knicks. You know what I'm talking about?
Who's
Van
that?
Gundy.
I can't think of his name right now, but yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Van Gundy, right? Like he says something about I didn't I'm not sure if this was a good analogy, but he was like, it's like oranges. Like when when you squeeze an orange, what do you get? He's like, you get orange juice. And so like when you're under pressure, like if you show up, like then you have like juice to produce. So it's like when if you have juice, then you can be of use. If you don't have juice,
Yeah.
then you're not of use. So you got to show up with juice, kind of thing. So that kind of reminded
Yeah.
me of what you said, which I don't know. I was like,
Definitely.
all right, Van Gundy. But anyway, so I enjoy listening to him on as he's commenting on NBA games. So shout out to Van Gundy if he's ever going to listen.
Yeah, Van Gundy is good.
But so like now that you are in the coaching position, right, and you're influencing these lives of young people, and you think of your high school experience, one of the things that I noticed what you do really well is encouraging these students to play in college. And when you think about your experience, what was that like for you to be recruited to play in college? Like how did you do that? How what was that like for you?
Well, the interesting thing about like college recruitment and like me playing football in college, like it was a dream of mine. Like I used to really want to play college ball. I would see Reggie Bush, and the crazy thing, and I always tell everybody the story of my dad and my sisters always wanted me to go to USC games, and I was like, no, because the first game I play in is the one. I mean, the first game I go to is the one I play in, and that was something that stuck with me, and I was determined to go to college and play in college. And to me, it didn't matter where I played. I could have played, at a Division One, Division Two, Division Three, NAIA, and honestly, I would have been happy. I felt like I overcame all the odds, considering that the average college football player is 6'1", 250, 260, right? And I'm sitting here like at the time 5'2" or 5'1", and recruiting was tough because of that reason. Like people didn't want to take chances on me because I wasn't able to run fast or whatever it may have been. So I had to reach out to the university myself. I had to go out and plan my recruiting, plan everything. So I applied to two schools, San Diego and Fresno State. When I applied to Fresno State, I reached out to the football coach and I told him, I'm interested in playing. Here's my highlight film. The assistant coach hit me up and he said, okay, well, come for a visit. We'll like to offer you, but come for a visit so we could meet you and talk to you. I went for a visit, talked to the coaches, and then he messaged me. I was going to commit. Man, I was all about Fresno State. I was about to commit to Fresno. I didn't care what they gave me. They were about to give me something, right? Just because I reached out to the coach. And, they offered me about $200, $300. And I said, okay, well, I'm opening my recruiting. And I started reaching out to coaches. And then my coach at the time, Coach Grego, he called me and he said, yo, there's a school that wants you. It's all the way in New Mexico. Would you be willing to go? And I'm like, sign me up right now. Like, I'm willing to go. So I went for a visit. I didn't like New Mexico. I thought it was, just plain. And when I met the coaches and everybody on the staff, I was sold, man. I felt like it was a good spot for me and I was going to be able to play. And it put me in the best position to play. And that's what I was looking for with the schools. Like, where am I going to get a chance to play? So I ended up going and committing that weekend that I went to visit to New Mexico Highlands. I signed my documents. Everything was clear. It's all history from there.
Wow. It sounds like it was a process because you had like these schools that you were like, I want to play for these schools. It didn't work out. And the school that like you eventually play for is the school that really chose you.
Yeah. And the cool thing about it is now I listen to college recruiters and some of the guys on like Twitter or something, they'll tweet out like, go where they want you, not where you want to go. Sometimes it's best to do that, and I never really understood that because it's like, no, I want to go where I want to go. Right. But at the end of the day, like, who wants you? And that's huge for me in making a decision, because at the end of the day, who's going to want what I do and what I bring to the table? You know what I mean? Just because you want to go there, or just because you have ambitions to go, let's say, to USC, doesn't mean that you're going to be a good fit, or doesn't mean that you're going to maximize your full potential. I think that's where we kind of mess up sometimes.
Yeah, that's interesting because I've thought that too. And I really think that you don't choose the college chooses you. And that becomes the fit versus where it's like you just said, like so many people, I want to go to this college. Well, sometimes that's not the case. It's like college chooses you and that's where you're going to go. And in my experience, college chose me, and yeah, it was a great experience. So I definitely hear you on that.
Yeah.
So fast forwarding a little bit to coming to Sacred Heart. I'm not sure how many people know why you chose Sacred Heart, but I want to ask the question, like, why did you choose Sacred Heart to come and teach, coach, be a part of?
Well, honestly, it was very similar to Sacred Heart chose me. No, I'm just kidding. I feel like when I'm thinking about Sacred Heart, it's not only a school that I wanted to teach. It's my sisters came here, my cousins came here, my family came here. It's in my neighborhood I grew up in, right? Like I grew up literally 2 blocks down from Sacred Heart. So when I saw an opportunity, I could not pass up on it. Like it was big for me to receive a call from Mr. Saborio or whoever it may have been at the time, and I feel like it was God's way of telling me, look, I'm gonna bring you home, right? And I have felt at home since I've been at Sacred Heart. Everyone's so welcoming. Anyone from you, Mr. Kinman, Miss Vivas, Mr. Saborio, everyone at Sacred Heart. I mean, I want to name them all, because they have been either mentors to me, they've helped me along the way, or even just, give me a smile, and that meant everything to me.
Wow. Well, you definitely add to that. Now being a fifth year teacher, you're part of those veteran teachers that help to build that. And that's what we really get from you. So we just appreciate you being that presence and that people were for you. So you've been here for 5 years, been coaching, and now you're in soccer. Now you're in soccer, the second year of soccer. I want to ask you, what's in store for the soccer program this year? What improvements do you see hoping to make as we kick off soccer season?
Well, I'm excited about soccer. I think we have a lot of talent in the field. We present a good product, and we're going to present a good product. We'll be well coached. The team is young, and I want to say that we are very young. So if I look at my 11 starters right now, um, out of those 11, I have about 9 or 8 that are juniors, sophomores, freshmen, right? And I do want to state that shout out to the freshmen. They're coming out, and I have 2 freshmen right now, Jake Galarze and Ashley Cortez. Both played club soccer, so I'm excited to have them. Jade came out a few weekends ago and played, and literally, I mean, I could see Jade giving one of our starters a run for their money, and you know, hopefully making a starting spot because she's that good. But as far as the team itself, I think we're gonna be good. I think we're gonna shock a lot of people. I just brought on board Coach Coronado, who's going to be helping me with formation, tactics, and fundamentals, because I felt like that's something we can use, and the more brains we have in the mix, the better it is for our girls. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I think we bring back our leading scorer from last year. We missed Alize, who is probably going to be up there with goals. We bring back Haley Martinez, who can defend lights out, literally defend lights out. The girl can play, and I'm excited. I think our girls are going to do great.
Wow. So it's really exciting that you have the young talent and they're coming in and it's like they're vying for these, playing time and starting roles and everything. How, as a coach, how do you maneuver through that? Like you have girls that have been in the program for a while, given a lot of work ethic, and then you got these, young girls that are coming in and competing, and like what's the thought process? How do you go about that?
Well, I think it, it's detrimental, and it could be vital to our success for girls to step up as freshmen. So I think having them on the team is huge. One, two, I just feel like those girls, if you're able to contribute and able to buy into our program, I don't care what age group you are. I don't care if you're beginning. I don't care if you're a senior. At the end of the day, girls that are willing to put in the work and willing to be a part of this team and make it work, then I'm willing to put my money on you, because I feel like that's important. That's an important lesson for all of our girls, is that no one's bigger than the game, right? And at the end of the day, if I'm gonna have a freshman out there because she works her butt off, or she gives all she can give and she buys into our team, then hey, whoever is willing to do that is gonna play. So I think giving an opportunity to the young ones, letting them have the open door is key.
Yeah. I'm really hearing like you work hard and you put in the time and effort, and like Coach Salazar is going to invest in you. He's going to put your money on you.
hmm And I strongly, I really believe that. I think that we get so caught up in the moment at times that oh, I was on the team last year. Oh, I did this last year, but we fail to realize that this is a new year. It's a fresh start for all of us. And if we look at it like that, where we have a chance to build on not only what we did last year, but build on this season and build our freshmen up and build our juniors and seniors up, then I think we're doing something right here.
Yeah. Yeah. So talking about building up, like what are some of the goals you have for this year?
Um, some of the goals. Well, honestly, last year was a learning experience for all of us, and I think if we're able to build on that, then that's a goal in itself. But as far as what we're trying to accomplish, well, the girls have individual goals they're going to set for themselves, and I think as a team, we want to go to the playoffs. Like that's the goal, right? We want to go to the playoffs, and we want to make a run. And I think with the team we have right now, we can make the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind. We should be able to make the playoffs. As far as the league itself, we have Ramona and Alverno, who are the top teams in our league. But I strongly feel if our girls go out, practice like they're supposed to, play like they're supposed to, you know, we held Alverno 0-0 in the first half last year, and Ramona 0-0 in the first half last year of our first two games we played against them. We shut them down twice, both of the teams. Right, we lost games 1-0. We lost games 2-0. Second half always got us against Alverno and Ramona, but we've shut them down. So I always use that as an example. Like if we could play a complete game, well, why can't we steal a game? Why can't we be the league champs? So, anything is out there. I think when we set goals, we set them to win league. That's our goal. We want to win league. Everybody wants to win league. We're gonna go big, and if we fall along the way, it is what it is, and we'll pick up from there. But I think our goal is to win league and make it to the playoffs. Same thing as every year, right?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Stated right here, right here. We're
Yeah.
predicting right here. So when we go back, it's like we said it right here, right now. Um, what are some of the challenges you see, and what's your plan on attacking those challenges?
Well, with COVID, it makes it real difficult to get girls to practice. One, and that's fine. Another thing is scheduling. Right, we're dealing with two different seasons in our schedule, so the girls are wondering whether they can play both, which is normal. I think challenges those are challenges we can't control. Right, like COVID situation, we can't control those, but challenges we can control is showing up to practice. Everyone needs to be there. Everyone needs to be on time, and everyone needs to be participating and competing at practice is key. I think last year we failed to understand that practice is getting us ready for the games. And if we don't compete at practice, we're not going to compete in the game. So towards the end of the year last year, we had competitive practices where the girls would get points for let's say competing offense versus defense. And this year we plan to bring that back early this year. And hey, let's compete. Let's make practice a competition. So at the end of practice, we're able to feel like we accomplished something. So I think that's something we're going to be working on is competing with ourselves and being able to translate that to our game day schedule.
Wow. So when your team isn't competing at the level you want them to, whether it's in practice or whether it's in a game, like what are the things that you do to either like get them, lift them up, help them perform at their best level? What messages do you send? Is it in the moment, or like, what are these things that you've done in the past or that you're planning on doing for this year?
Well, I think to start the game, I'm gonna go to the start and then work my way to the finishing touches of the game. But to start the game, I do this thing where the seniors or captains or whoever it may be that wants to say something, they do a team huddle. And, I tell them, I'm not going to say anything. You guys are in charge of this. Your captains, your leaders, your seniors, whatever it may be, freshmen, whatever, and talk to your team, get them motivated because we're about to start this game, and I need them to be mentally okay with going and starting this game. Now soccer is very unique because I can't just call timeout and gather my team and be like, hey, you guys aren't playing up to standard, right? So I have to wait. But on the field, I try to stay positive as ever because one thing I noticed is that um, the girls or any athlete, if you get on them or you scream at them, like it does nothing, right? I think motivating them from within and coming to the consensus of, hey, it's okay. You made a mistake. It's all right. You're going to be fine. You played great. You're doing great out there. Because confidence is key when you're dealing with any athlete. If you're playing with confidence, nothing can stop you. If you're lacking confidence, well, it happens. But you need to get your confidence and then we go to, like, let's say halftime, and I'll talk to them individually and how they did right and what they because bashing the negative stuff, like, hey, you let that ball go through, like, what were you thinking, like, that does nothing for an athlete. But letting them know, hey, you did this absolutely beautiful, right? And you're gonna have the games where hey, nothing seems to be going right for you, but I feel like pointing out, even when there's nothing really to point out, like the little things, is better than just being negative about any situation. And building the confidence is key. I'm telling you, I feel like with confidence you can make anyone run through a wall. And you know, the wall might get you sometimes, but at some point you got to realize that hey, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to build athletes that are very confident in what they do, and I think that's going to take our athletes to the next level.
Wow. I really appreciate how your approach to the challenge, because I think sometimes the tendency is to harp on what you're doing wrong. Like, you didn't kick it right. You didn't hustle back. You're not giving your effort. And like and sometimes I've been as a coach where like it's meant to help, and sometimes, or a lot of times, it doesn't. It's like, I think what you're saying is that like your athletes understand when they do something wrong. They don't need you to tell them because they already know. So when you tell them, it's like, all right, like it just gets them down. Versus like what I'm hearing you saying is like, I'm gonna tell them what they're doing right. I'm gonna give them more confidence to get out there and switch it so that the change from playing at a low level goes to a high level through confidence. That's what I'm really hearing. I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, and I think like I said, man, that's key to any athlete. I remember being in high school, and just a quick story. I fumbled the ball against Cantwell, and it's halftime, and the coach yelled and told me, if you fumble that ball again, you're gonna be walking home, right? And I was scared. I was like, man, I'm not gonna fumble the ball. But as I think back of like how I was playing, well, I was playing nervous and scared. Like that's not how I want my athletes to play. I
Mhm.
want my athletes to play confident. And then I had another coach later in college, and he told me, dude, that kickoff return was great. You stumbled, but it's okay. You got back up, and you're ready for the next play. That's all we can. That's all we can hope from you. Do your best, and that made me feel like, dang. Next time I get this, I want to house it because I want to make my coach proud, and that's what it's about is having each other's back and understanding that, hey, you're gonna make mistakes. It's fine, but I'd rather highlight what you did right and you know run with it.
Well, that probably, I'm guessing that's what makes you the quality coach that all these athletes want to be a part of. Because when I see the soccer tryouts go up, I mean, like people flood to want to be on the soccer team. And I think one, it is because they like soccer, but it might be just because that man, it's like being with Coach Salazar, like it's a great experience. And in hearing what you're saying, I think is why it's such a great experience for the athletes, because they get to build their confidence. They get a coach who's going to build them up, and that in itself is a huge, like, I mean, you're a role model for them, and you're that one that you talked about before. The person on the shoulders they can lean on. They can like say, "Hey, look, like I need some help," and you're that person right there. So that's huge, Coach Salazar. That's huge.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to talk just briefly about is and it's not like I don't get on my team. I do get on them. Okay, I want to clarify that for anyone. I do get on. I hold them accountable. I think that's the most important thing I like to do is hold them accountable. Okay, but not just with. I mean, it's one thing to compliment someone's skill, and then it's one thing to kind of get upset at lack of integrity. So if a student or an athlete is on the field and they do something that is probably not the right thing to do, then I'll get upset and take them out the game. That's the difference between correcting players on as far as their skill, and then their integrity is something else. I think I just definitely wanted to touch on that a little bit.
What do you so talk to me more about, like the right thing to do? What does that mean?
Yeah, like for example, you know, uh we had a girl last year who was just upset, taking out our team. And so I pulled her out of the game and I talked to her, and she didn't think that was right because I pulled her out of the game. Now, here's the thing is that if I don't, what happens? Well, her attitude is going to be on the field. Her demeanor with her other teammates are going to be it's going to be shot, right? Like so there's a time and place where we have to hold our girls accountable in a sense of the decisions they're making. And so I always say, like, hey, if you're going to bash your team, I'm going to take you out, or I'm going to talk to you and we're going to talk about that, right? There's a difference between bashing your team and making a mistake on the field. So I want to clarify that with everyone, that we do hold our girls accountable and for their actions. If they go and let's say for another example is let's say one girl pushes another team down purposely, right? Not part of the game. They just get mad and they want to fight, and you know I don't like that. I think that we should hold our girls accountable and we should let them know that, hey, that was wrong. I'm going to pull you out. I'm going to sit you down, and you're going to think about that. And that's huge too.
Yeah, that's a huge life lesson to be able to, hey, control your inner state. Like you can
Yeah,
treat your, teammates one way, with respect, and not have to bash them. And you really hold that line. I'm hearing, like, if one of your players aren't playing in it with integrity, they're not being a good teammate. It's like, okay, we're gonna deal with this. Like we're gonna I'm gonna teach you, like, that's not okay. That's not how we run things here.
yeah,
So that's really cool to hear.
yeah, definitely. So the decision, I guess what I'm trying to say is the decisions they make, we want them to make good decisions. If they don't show up to practice on time, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh, well, your car was going fast, right? Like I'm gonna tell them, well, you're late. Why are you late? You know what I mean? And then whatever the punishment is, it is what it is. But at some point, it's life lessons as well. I just don't like to bash skill or play on the field because that's that doesn't do anything for our athletes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks for that clarification. Definitely appreciate that. And the last thing I wanted to ask you was, like, you get a lot of support for the programs you do, and for soccer. Like, how how big is the support from donors, from sponsors? What does that mean for your team?
Well, it means everything. One, Sacred Heart, low income school. Um, we were self sustained, so everything we do, we have to basically fund ourselves. So when I get these contributions, like last year I did from Mr. Justin Rodriguez, where he donated our our game shorts. He put in money for our game shorts, and honestly, that meant the world to not only me, to our girls. And I think that's where the contribution turns very sweet, where it's not just for me. It's never been about me, right? It's always about the girls and their emotions and how they feel. Like when I tell them, hey, this guy donated money for our shirts, their face lit up, and it's exciting for them, right? Like, we have shorts. We're gonna all look the same, and that's something that we want our donors to understand is that do for the girls. The girls are the ones that deserve this. They get excited. They love when people help them out. It's not all the time, so it's very special to them, and I think that's where we get excited.
Yeah. And that's so cool to hear that, how these contributions just lift up your team, and the girls are so excited. The athletes are so thrilled to be able to get that support, and that's just huge. So, you know, Mr. Salazar, Coach Salazar, thanks for being on the Comets podcast. Really appreciate you being here, and thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, it was great, man. Thank you for having me. Hopefully we do this again soon.
All right, then. Well, that's it for today, and stay tuned because next week we got somebody else coming, and it'll be exciting, just like Coach Salazar here today. So that being said, everybody, peace out.